hope you all are fine, safe, and sound at home. Students, now due to this pandemic situation, the schools are closed, but education must go on. So, the BNC had started with this new concept of online teaching. Today, I hope you all are enjoying this lecture and you will enjoy today's lecture too. Myself, Mrs. Manisha Mehetre from Kurar Village MPS English School. Students, I'll be sharing screen with you all. Pay attention. Okay. Now students, welcome to geography class. Students, before starting my lecture, I would like to give you all some instructions that have to be followed during this online class. First and the most important instruction is to keep your mic mute during the presentation. This means students, you will mute your mic, you will keep your mic off so that there will be no disturbance during the lecture. The second instruction is do not chat while the presentation is going on. Students, in the chat box, you don't have to say hi, hello, or you don't have to write your name. Only thing which you will write in your chat box is your queries. And if you want to answer or if you want to ask anything, but please don't chat in between the lecture. If you have any queries, just raise your hand. The next instruction is to give a thumbs up if you understood the concept. And the last instruction is please tell your name and school name before answering the question. At the end of the session, I will ask you some questions. So while answering that question, you have to tell your name and your school name. Okay, I hope I am clear with my instructions. Students, now we shall begin with our topic, air pressure. Let us first recall some important topics. As we all know, there are three main spheres of the earth. They are lithosphere, means land, hydrosphere, means water, and atmosphere, means air. Now, atmosphere is the layer of air surrounded by the earth. The layers of atmosphere. Now we will see the layers of the earth's atmosphere. Now, as you can see in the picture, the layers of the atmosphere are named as troposphere, then stratosphere, then mesosphere, ionosphere, and the last one is exosphere. Now in this picture, you can see the closest layer which is towards Earth is troposphere. After troposphere comes stratosphere. The next layer which is surrounded by the air is mesosphere. Above mesosphere, there is another layer of ionosphere. And the last layer of atmosphere is exosphere. Now students, remember we have learned that near the surface, the air is present in large quantity. And as you go higher and higher, it decreases. Let us give you all an example. Students, you all know mountaineers. Who are mountaineers? Mountaineers are the people who climb the mountains. So, have you seen mountaineers carrying oxygen cylinders with them while they climb the mountain that are more than 5,000 meter high? Why they carry oxygen cylinders with them? Because they carry the oxygen cylinder with them because the amount of oxygen level in the atmosphere decreases. As we climb the mountain, the amount of oxygen levels that is present in the air goes on decreasing. So that is why when they climb the mountain, they need oxygen. When they climb high, like about high of 5,000 meter, when they climb the mountains, they need oxygen. We all know that we need oxygen to live. So while climbing the mountain, they need oxygen, and that is why they carry oxygen with them when they climb the high mountains. As oxygen level, the oxygen that is present in the air goes on decreasing as we go higher and higher. Now students, what do air consist of? So air consists of dust particles and water vapor and some gases. Gases such as nitrogen, oxygen. Now nitrogen is about 70% of nitrogen is there in the air. 21% of oxygen is there in the air. And the 1% of other gases like argon, carbon dioxide, neon, hydrogen, all these oxygens are in little quantity, in little percentage. So only 1% of argon, carbon dioxide, neon and hydrogen gases are there in the air. Now students, in science we have learned that air has weight. Let us see the same with the help of the picture. Now you can see here there are two diagrams, diagram A and diagram B. First, look at diagram A. Now you can see there are two balloons, one of orange color and the other is of blue color. Now these two balloons are blown. Blown means it is filled with air. Now these two balloons are tied with a string at the end of the stick. Now look at the picture B. What happens if we will burst one of the balloon? In the picture B or in the diagram B, when the blue balloon is burst, we can see that orange balloon goes down. Now, why it goes down? Because that balloon is filled with air. So this shows us that orange balloon has air in it and air has weight. Now, students, do you all know that 1,000 kg of weight of air is always over our head? Now we cannot see this air, or we cannot feel that 1,000 kgs of air is there above us. We cannot feel it or we cannot see it. Why is it so? Because the air molecules which are there in the air are too small or too tiny to observe. So that is why we cannot see or we cannot feel that air has weight. So with the above, with this picture, we can say that air has weight. And students, anything that has weight exerts or releases pressure on the thing which lies below it. I repeat, students, anything that has weight exerts, or releases pressure on the thing which lies below it. Similarly, the air. Just now, with the help of the experiment or with the help of the picture, we saw that air has weight. So, similarly, the air in the atmosphere exerts pressure or releases pressure on the surface of the earth. This is called air pressure or atmospheric pressure. Please remember, students, the air in the atmosphere exerts pressure on the surface of the air, and this is called air pressure or atmospheric pressure. Now let's see what is air pressure and what causes air pressure. Now just now I have told you that air exerts or releases pressure on the earth's surface, on the surface of the earth, and that is known as air pressure or atmospheric pressure. Now this is caused by the weight of the air in the atmosphere pressing down on the earth, means air is putting pressure on the earth. Next is air pressure changes with the height and also when air warms up or cools down. The third point is changes in air pressure causes changes in the weather. Now, changes in the weather means it results in storm and precipitation. Now, what do you mean by precipitation? Students, precipitation means vapor changing into droplets or all forms of water particles, whether solid or liquid particles, that falls from the atmosphere. For example, rain or snow. So students, I repeat, precipitation means vapor changing into droplets or all forms of water particles, whether solid or liquid, that falls from the atmosphere. Students, remember, air pressure is not uniform. Uniform means it is not same on all places. It keeps on changing from time to time. So we have to remember that air pressure is not uniform, not same on all the places. It keeps on changing due to height and due to the temperature and the changes in the weather. Now we will see what are the factors that influences air pressure. What affects air pressure? So the three things which affects air pressure are, first one, the temperature. Temperature of the air. How is the temperature of the air? Whether it is hot or whether it is cold. The second factor that influence air pressure is humidity. Now students, What do you mean by humidity? Humidity means the amount of water vapor present in the air. So this is the second factor that affects air pressure. Humidity. How much amount of water vapor is in the air. And the third factor that influences air pressure is the altitude of the region. Altitude means the height of the region, or you can say the distance above the sea level. So these are the three factors that affects or influences air pressure. Temperature, how is the temperature, whether it is hot or it is cold. Humidity, how much amount of water vapor is present in the air. And third, and the most important, is the altitude of the region, means height. Altitude means height of your region, height of that location. So these are the three factors which affects air pressure. Now we will see this in detail. Now see, you can see in this picture, altitude of the region means height of this region. Now see students, in this picture you can see blue dots or blue balls. Now these blue balls or blue dots represent air molecules. Now you can observe that the molecules which is nearer to the surface of the air are in large quantity. See, I have shown you the air molecules which are nearer to the surface of the air are in large quantity. But as you go higher and higher, you can see the air molecules becomes less. It means as one moves higher and higher from the surface of the earth, the air becomes thinner and thinner. I repeat, student, when one moves higher and higher, or it goes higher and higher from the earth surface, the air becomes thinner and thinner. As a result, the air pressure decreases. As a result, the air pressure decreases with the increasing height or altitude. You can see the same with the help of this picture. Okay, here as we have seen, the air molecules are in larger quantity at the near the surface of the air, and as we go higher and higher, the air molecules becomes less as the air becomes thinner and thinner. So remember students, you have to keep this in your mind that higher altitudes have a lower pressure. There the air is less, and lower altitudes have a higher pressure. Here the air is more. Therefore, the air pressure that exerts or releases is more on the surface of the earth. As we go higher and higher, the pressure of the air becomes low. It goes on decreasing. Okay, so in short, we can say lower altitude or height have high pressure, and higher altitude or height have lower pressure. Am I clear, student? I hope the concept till here is clear to all. Now let us move to the next factor that influences air pressure, that is temperature. Now, the temperature and air are closely related with each other. Wherever the temperature is high, the air pressure is low. And wherever the temperature is low, the air pressure is high. Students, when the temperature rises, when the temperature increases, the air gets heated, and because of this, it gets expand and becomes lighter. Now this light air starts moving up towards the sky. As the result, the air pressure decreases in such areas. Now in this picture also, you can see the air pressure is higher on the surface or near the surface of the air, and as you go higher, as the temperature rises, the air pressure is low. And the third factor that influences air pressure is humidity. We all know that humidity means water vapor present in the air. So these are the three main factors that influences air pressure. First is altitude of that region. Second, temperature of that region. Third, humidity of that region. Now let us move to the next topic, that is temperature zones and pressure belts and planetary winds. Students, you all can see this picture on your screen. Now let us learn something more about temperature zone. In the first picture, temperature zone, you can see, we all know, students, that our earth is divided into two equal parts. The above part is known as northern hemisphere and the lower part is known as southern hemisphere. The imaginary line which divides the earth into two equal parts is called equator. Now students, Earth's climate is divided into three main zones, three major zones. That is torrid zone, also known as tropic zone. Second is temperate zone. Third is frigid zone or polar zone. As the perpendicular rays of the sun falls on the equator, that region receives more heat. So that is why torrid zone is more hot. As we go away from the equator, the climate is moderate hot in temperate zone. And when we go more higher, the climate becomes cool, that is in frigid zone or polar zone. I hope students, till here the concept is clear about temperature zone. Temperature zone has three major zones, that is torrid zone, temperate zone, frigid zone. Torrid zone is more hot. Temperate zone is moderate hot and frigid zone is cooler. Now, students, both temperature zones and pressure belts are interrelated. They are connected, they are interrelated with each other. The latitudinal extents. Now, students, you all know what is latitude and what is longitude. Now, you can see in this picture, there are vertical lines and horizontal lines in temperature zone. You can look at the picture temperature zone. Here, there are lines, vertical and horizontal. Now, latitude, the horizontal lines are called latitude. It tells us the location from east to west. The vertical lines is known as longitude. It tells us the location from east to west. The latitude, the horizontal latitude lines, which are horizontal lines, tells us the location from north to south, and the longitude, vertical lines, tells us the location from east to west. Now you can see the picture of temperature zone. Now here, students, the latitudinal extent of the temperate zone is much larger. Here you can see the latitudinal extent of the temperate zone is larger, whereas the pressure belts are narrower. For example, the temperate zone extends from 23 degree 30 minutes north to 66 degree 30 minutes north. Whereas the air pressure belt has limited extent. It is generally 10 degree parallel. Here you can see it is narrower. Okay. So the temperature zone and pressure belts are interrelated. Now you can see, students, there is uneven distribution of air pressure because the latitudinal extent of temperate zone is larger, whereas the pressure belts are narrower. So there is uneven distribution of temperature and air pressure. So students, remember this uneven distribution of temperature and air pressure leads to low and high pressure belt. I repeat, students, the uneven distribution of temperature and air pressure leads to low and high pressure belt. I hope, students, you have understood the concept till now, till here. Now, students, we shall learn about high pressure and low pressure belts in the next class. I hope the concept taught today is clear to you all. Let us do a quick recap of what we have learned today. The first and the most important thing which we learn today is that air has weight. Now, because of this weight, it creates or exerts or it releases pressure on the surface of the earth. So, pressure exerted by the air on the surface of the air is called air pressure or atmospheric pressure. Students, please keep this in mind. Pressure exerted by the air is called air pressure or atmospheric pressure. The next thing which we learned today was the causes of air. What are the causes of air pressure? The causes of air pressure were the weight of air. Second, the pressure changes with the height and also with the temperature. As the height or the altitude of the region increases, air pressure decreases. Then the third cause of air pressure is changes in air pressure can cause changes in weather like storm and precipitation. Air pressure is not same everywhere on the earth. It keeps on changing. It is not uniform. It is not same everywhere on the earth. It keeps on changing due to high temperature and humidity. Three factors. Then again we have learned about factors. The three factors that affects or influences air pressure. So which are the three factors? Altitude or the height of your location or the region. Second one was temperature. How is the temperature? Whether it is hot or whether it is cold. And the humidity. How much amount of water vapor is present in the air. So these are the three factors that influences the most. Then we have also learned about lower altitude has higher pressure and higher altitude has lower pressure, again due to weight, temperature, water vapor present in the air. When the temperature is high, air pressure is low and vice versa. Then we have learned about temperature zones and pressure belts, the interconnections and how they are interrelated with each other. I hope students, this was a quick recap what we have learned today. Now it's question time for you all. Now students, as I instructed you all, you have to raise your hand while answering the question and you have to tell your name and school name while answering the question. Okay? Nobody will unmute themselves. If you want to answer, you will raise your hand. So here you go with your questions. Okay. Now, what is the question? Say whether the statement is right or wrong. Okay? Say whether the statement is right or wrong. First one, air has weight.
Wrong. Wrong.
It is
Wrong.
wrong.
Air has what wrong.
Air has weight. Whether it is right or wrong, students? The statement
Wrong,
is...
miss.
Yes, the statement is correct. Okay? Very good, students. Second statement is air pressure is same on all places on the earth's surface.
False.
Yes, it is wrong. It is false. Okay. Air pressure is not same on all places on the earth's surface. Okay. So the correct statement is air pressure is not same or not uniform on all places on the earth's surface. Okay. Now we will move further. The third statement, Air pressure decreases with increasing altitude, with increasing height.
Wrong.
Miss
Is it
right.
wrong, students?
Miss
Sorry, Miss
right.
right.
Think a little bit and
Miss right.
air pressure decreases when the height increases or when the altitude increases.
Right.
Yes, right or wrong? Air pressure decreases with increasing height or increasing altitude.
Miss
It,
right.
right, right. Air pressure decreases with increasing altitude. Okay. The last one, at higher altitude, air becomes thicker and thicker. Tell me, students, is it right or wrong?
Wrong.
Wrong. Correct. Very good, students. At higher altitude, air becomes thinner and thinner. Okay. At higher, or the correct statement is the at higher altitude, air becomes thinner and thinner. Very good, students. I hope you have understood all the concept which was taught today. Now, students, there's homework for you all. So, this is your homework. Draw neat and labeled diagram of temperature zones and pressure belts and planetary winds. See, students, this is given on, this picture is given on our textbook, geography textbook, page number 17. You can take help of textbook. Now you will draw a neat diagram. It should be neat and clean, and you have to label the diagram. You have to label it correctly. Okay, so this will be your homework. You have to draw a neat and labeled diagram of temperature zones and pressure belts and planetary winds. Thank you, students. Hoping to meet you all soon in the next class.